Hi, welcome to Ray's Sensation. I'm your host, Dan, and in this episode, we're going to be looking at the book Macabras, the horror comic art of Jayme Cortez, Volume 2. All right, so here we are with the horror comic art of Jayme Cortez. This is Volume 2. It's called Macabras. I will put a link down below to Terror. This was Volume 1. Jayme Cortez was a Portuguese artist who went to Brazil and had a huge success. He did all kinds of work, and I won't go into this too much. There's a nice bio that spans Chapter 1 and Book 1 and Book 2. He did movie posters and advertising art, and he did comics. He did different kinds of comics, but he's most famous for his horror comics. And, that's what leads to these two books. That first book, Terror, covers mostly the 50s. This one covers mostly the 60s, although it goes up to the end of his career. It's got some illustrations, and some of his advertising work. I'll touch on that as we go through here. But most of this is comic work he did in the 60s for a publisher he co-owned, Continental was originally called, and then Altabaro. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but so it's mostly the horror comics, which is what I want to see. So let's go through here. Horror comic art of Jayme Cortez, Volume 2. Fabio Mores, I guess is how you say that. I'm not really sure. So a couple nice shots here. Artist working. Here's some of his earliest stuff. This is from 46. Again, his move to Brazil and the horror comics is mostly what we're interested in. But he worked with a lot of photographs. I like these fish running away from people there. There's some interesting stuff here. And this is the logo for the publishing company he co-owned. To save costs, the cover and interior pages were printed in black and white for 6 issues of one of their comics. Here you can see there's a little bit of a sci-fi element to some of these. There's one of the Boris Karloff magazines that were from the U.S. I'm not sure what the ratio of, if they were just taking the title and using it, or, that's definitely the picture of Boris they used. This is from a later comic he did, full-page artwork from Rock in Comics, in which Cortez illustrated a comic adaptation of the heavy metal song Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne. That was in 1984. There he is with Stan Lee, and there he is with Will Eisner. This is some of the later stuff. They're covering that before they get to the meat of the book, which is the 60s stuff. But this is some really interesting artwork. I'd kind of like to know what the story is behind some of these. Nice Sherlock Holmes picture there. This is a comic. He was an art historian. He loved fine artists, and so he returns to those motifs over the years. This is a Portrait of Evil, as a little short comic he wrote, and then he redid it in 1973. And there are various artists, fine artists, whose style he is inspired by throughout this comic, and so it's got a kind of there's different parts of it that are drawn in different ways. Honestly, I'm not. This kind of reminds me of the pop arty kind of look he has for the movie posters he did. I'm not really crazy about this particular uh, art myself. It's interesting, but I'm not crazy about it. I'd like to see more of his more traditional stuff, but here we go. We're getting into the horror stuff, 59 to 67 for this comic. I do like seeing these photographs he used for reference for these covers. He does occasionally use stills from movies, not nearly as much as the Italian comics were doing, but you'll recognize some of these. Some of these are more generic kind of Draculas and stuff. These colors and stuff are terrific, and I love the monsters. There's a lot of Dracula in these. So that part gets that's a famous picture of Bela Lugosi that he's using there. There's a couple where it's really obvious. I'm sure more of these are taken from famous photographs that I'm recognizing. But there's not, like I said, there's not as much of it. That kind of looks like the Phantom of the Opera picture there. Like I said, this is very atmospheric art and not nearly as gruesome as the art would later become. And even some of his contemporaries, I think, were probably doing stuff a little more over the top than he was doing. There's the comic. They used that for the cover of the first volume. So, yeah. I do like when they show the difference between the way the colors are from his original paintings to when they're printed, and the changes they make are always great to see. That's from a picture from Son of Frankenstein with Basil Rathbone. It's the one where the Frankenstein monster wears that woolly vest. Some of these are getting a little more gruesome as we get to the zombie parts. And this is, of course, Henry Hall from The Werewolf of London. Great. I really like this. I really like it a lot. I think people who are into covers and who are into design and stuff will get a kick out of this book. I mean, obviously, I'm showing most of it there. Let me show a little bit more. See, this is more... I'd like to see more of those black and white sketches there. So yeah, I think this is, and he's a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan. Like I said, this is very interesting, very, very pop art kind of thing. Pretty cool. Here's him doing one of his posters for a low budget film, showing him setting it up. And here's some more posters. I'm not sure about this. They have this Mighty Joe Young. That's obviously taken from the U.S. Mighty Joe Young poster. I guess I'd have to set it side by side. That looks like he probably did repaint it, but it's pretty close to the original version. Here's some, I like these black and white illustrations. They're pretty fun. Where's that one? That fold there is unfortunate. Oh, I like this one where this what looks like Bigfoot fighting a bear. There's a rogues gallery. There's a tribute to Boris Karloff. There's like a rogues gallery of photos for behind the scenes. Here's some a look at some of the other titles. This publisher, one of my favorite publishers, Corriero. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. The Sex and Horror series, the Italian comic covers. Baldassini, Roberto Baldassini. He's a he's a great cartoonist. He does fetish work. I actually was working on a video for this book and one other by him because I really like his work. But it is fetish work, and so I'm really afraid that I'll get my channel get in trouble on YouTube. I've gotten in trouble once or twice before with some of the things I cover. But check out some of my other videos on some of these other books on horror comic covers. I think you'll get a kick out of them. And that's that.